Welcome to a new episode of Mapping Charts, a podcast about knitting and crafting and everything in between nowadays. My name is Alex, and if you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back and spending a little bit of time with me. And if you're a new viewer, welcome. Basically, I am a transportation professional who loves to knit, who's living in urban New Jersey, and right now I am finding myself in the midst of a ton of Christmas knitting. But the administrative stuff first. I like to keep my show notes in the down bar, and last show I had an agenda to work off of, but I think this may be my last podcast of 2015, just because I'm getting ready to move to Newark next week. Right now I've been basically living with my friends, and they have just been absolutely so wonderful and so gracious, and I seriously can't even thank them enough for letting me live in their guest bedroom for a little bit, or my other friend B, who was letting me live in her basement until my lease could come along. But my lease, I can finally move in on the Sunday after Christmas, so I'm really super excited about that. And yeah, just basically I've just been like furniture shopping, just because I attended graduate school from 2013 to 2014 and had a dorm room, as like I lived in the graduate housing, so I had like the standard like twin XL bed and all that fun stuff. And then my last apartment, it came furnished, so right now I'm just like, ooh, what's a good mattress, what's a good frame? Oh man, this is turning into a ton of money being spent up front, but I'm super excited about it. I think that right now I'm just like focusing on the essentials right now, like a mattress, obviously, lady needs to sleep somewhere, a frame, some yeah, you know, blankets and pillows and all that good stuff, as well as a desk. I really am looking for like the perfect crafting desk, that not only I can, you know, knit at, or you know, wind up balls of yarn with, but also another, like, I want large enough that I can also like do my work and my research at as well. So I don't know, maybe my desk is out there somewhere, I just kind of need to find it. But anyway, I definitely know that we all are anxious to get to the knitting, and I know that this episode is titled The Tale of the Boyfriend Scarf, so I will definitely get to that story as well. So here are my, I have a couple of finished objects, and when I say a couple of finished objects, I totally mean I got a couple of finished objects. So basically I am working on doing a handmade Christmas for my family. At times I've thought, what in the world did I get myself into? But as it's winding down, I'm seeing that there will be presents under the tree, and I'm so excited about that. Also because I had to do some color consultation and fiber consultation with my family. The gifts aren't coming as a surprise, so I'm not really spoiling anything with them. And actually I'm going to be talking a little bit more about like gift consultation in a few moments. But anyway, so yeah, they all know that this is coming. So for my father, I made him a Fortnight hat by Jared Flood of Brooklyn Tweed. The yarn is Anzula for better or for worsted, which is 80% merino, 10% nylon, and 10% cashmere. My father is a cashmere addict, and he has always wanted something cashmere from me, so I couldn't really find a good cashmere worsted that was kind of in the like affordability range, but Anzula for better for worsted retailed at like $32 for a skein, and I just thought that it fit my price point on, so I am very excited to give this to him, especially because like one of the best memories I've had with my father was when we were in Epcot, and we went to Ireland, Epcot, Ireland, and there was this nice little gift shop, and my father, I learned, is incredibly knowledgeable about wool. He was talking with the store attendant about like different kinds of cables and different kinds of wool blends, and I'm just like 12 years old or so, and just like sitting there and being like, yeah, Dad knows his stuff. This is pretty awesome. So I'm really excited to give him something with cables and also something that he will definitely like to wear. So excited to get this to him. I am also knitting a, basically, let me start that over. I am knitting Fortnight hats for my dad, my Nonno, which is Italian for grandfather, and my uncle Renato. Just because the one thing I found out with Christmas knitting is just that it's just really, really helpful if you are just knitting everybody the same pattern. Because after, like, now that I've become acquainted with the Fortnight hat, this is my first time I've ever really used like short rows for like ear flap shaping, just because like as you can see with, I think you can see it more with my Nonno's hat, which I made out of Malabrigo worsted, much more than the Anzula for better for worsted, but you know, the hat kind of just like, oh, and please ignore that little thing, it just lets me know which is the right side and which is the wrong side when I'm shaping short rows. But yeah, like basically like there's longer ear flaps. I think you can probably see it better from the, yep, you can see it a lot better from the side. There's some ear flaps right over there too. You know, I know that ever since I cut my hair into a pixie, I never realized how like bad dudes have it in the winter. I actually cut my hair into a pixie in December of last year, and like the first thing that I noticed was like, oh my god, my ears are so cold. So when I saw that there was an ear flap variation, I just was like, we need to do this because I know what it's like to have cold ears and it's not fun. And so yeah, like, but it was like, I've done like, you know, some short row shaping before, like with, you know, I like for my vanilla sock pattern, I like to use Woolen Vine Yarn's favorite sock pattern, which incorporates a little bit short heel, you know, wrap and turn. And with the Lolo hat that I finished last episode, it also requires some short rows. But for some reason, I was finding a little bit of difficulty doing my father's Fortnight hat because it was the first one that I did. I was just getting like these gaping holes, and that's when I, you know, to the, like, definitely the power of YouTube, I found out that I needed to pick, when I'm going in the round, that I need to pick up the wrap and then knit it together with the stitch before the gap, so that there's no more gappiness, if that's even a word. So I like, it was really funny because when I was knitting my dad's Fortnite hat, we were having a game night at my friend's place, and it's really cute. Like, me and my friends, I taught them how to knit, and we all love board games, so we were just like doing some knitting before board games, and I was like, I made a mistake with the short row shaping, just because I was completely ignorant that you had to pick up the wrap, and I was like, no, I have to rip this all out. And then my friend S was like, no, Alex, I know you can fix it. Like, I wouldn't like rip out all of that work. And I'm just like, I can't. I have to rip the whole thing out if I'm ever going to be happy with it. So yeah, that was a little painful. But I'm just happy that I've learned a new technique, and yeah, I'm not intimidated by short rows anymore. So yay! So yeah, so my Nonno's hat is made out of Malabrigo worsted. I do want to block, well, it's going to end up being blocked anyway because I take this, I mean, I've taken this on the subway and the path, and I don't know, it's just, I feel like really weird if I give something to somebody that hasn't been washed. So I would hope, like, when I block this, that the hat will be a little bit larger, because I see that my gauge with the Malabrigo worsted is a little bit tighter than it was with the Anzula for better or for worsted. So it's kind of tight on top. So I'm hoping that blocking will help alleviate that. So yay! There's a lot of yays with me. I even yay a lot when I'm just like talking in person. So it's just something to expect. So and my final Fortnight hat is for my uncle Renato. It is in the Burgandy colorway of the Malabrigo worsted. So as you see, I'm just basically on like the rim of the hat right now. But like, that's like the one thing with Knitmas. I have made a cowl for my mom, socks for my stepdad, we're going on 3 hats for my male adult family members, and also like mittens for my little brothers that I did back in October. It's just been a lot, and I realized that I honestly haven't knitted anything for myself since October. And which is like kind of funny because, you know, like I'm so happy that I'm doing handmade Christmas because I've always wanted to share my skill with my family, and you know, I love my family and I want to keep them warm, so I'm super excited about giving these gifts to them. But at the same time, you're just like, I just want something that I can wear myself that I don't have to give away. So it was funny because me and my friends, we went out to see the new Star Wars movie yesterday in Union Square in New York City, and every weekend there's a Union Square farmers market, and there's always this one vendor, Catskill Merino, who I think their farm is in Warwick, but I may be wrong about that, but I'll put their information down in the show notes because they're just absolutely wonderful. I've talked with them so many times, and I've just been waiting for the right project to use their yarn for. And you know, they basically raise their sheep. I think they send out the yarn to Green Mountain Spinnery. Again, may be wrong about that, but I do remember reading something about that on the website. But they're just so lovely, and I've been wanting to, like, I want like this next year to be the year of the sweater for me, because I've never knitted a sweater, and I'm being a little bit ambitious, and I would like to ideally make 3 sweaters this year. And I thought, you know, I've been looking at the Featherweight pattern forever, and I just thought this is perfect because Catskill Merino, their lace weight base is about 350 yards, and you can get, and like each hank is $16. So at the end, it turned out that I only had to spend like $64 on this sweater, but it's you know, it is merino wool, and what I love about it, like, as you can kind of see, like, there's like still like a little like flecks of hay in there, which I know some people don't like. I personally love it just because I really love rustic yarn. It's a single ply, and so I'm a little curious about how it's going to end up wearing, because I know that single ply is more prone to pilling, but I saw that Hannah Fettig, her example of like she recommended using Malabrigo lace, which is also a single ply for the Featherweight pattern. So I know, like, who knows? I'm just really excited. Like, this yarn is just so nice and airy and lofty, and I can't recommend it enough. And so I made this while binge watching The Man in the High Castle last night, and I think I'm going to just continue working on this, you know, throughout the night. Just like, and then tomorrow I'll probably get back to my gift knitting, because you've got to treat yourself. So I just really love this, and I'm looking forward. I set a goal for myself. I'm hoping that I'll get it done by January 10th, just because I feel like if I set a knitting goal, it usually ends up being done. So, and January 10th is when I have to go to a conference in DC. So I'm like, well, conference, sweater. And it's actually really funny because at that conference I was sitting next to a male knitter, and like through one of the sessions we were like both knitting together. So so yeah, it's just really funny like how yarn and knitting and transit have more in common than I ever thought that it ever would. So so I would really like that to wear for that conference, especially because I remember last year it was like so cold, and I don't know if it's going to be like crazy cold this year, because at least in New York and New Jersey we've had such warm weather. So I'm just kind of curious about like what if I'm ever really going to see snow yet. I know that my parents who live upstate, it snowed back home from where I live, so who knows, maybe I will get a white Christmas after all. But yeah, super excited about this. I am alternating skeins, and this is my first time where I'm alternating skeins within a project. And it's not that bad as I thought it would be. I'm just alternating every 2 rows. Even though I think I purchased, you know, the skeins from a single dye lot, I just know that with indie dyed yarns, period, there's always that risk of, you know, color, like extreme color variation if you don't alternate, and I really just want like a nice little uniform sweater. So, so yeah, I think that alternating rows, has been pretty, it's giving me the result that I would like. And yeah, and of course gauge swatch. So I don't know, like, it is getting a little bit darker, so I see that the video quality is getting a little bit more yellow, but it's their blue violet colorway, and as you see, it just kind of gets this, it provides this like really nice airy fabric, which is going to be perfect for winter and spring and even summer, because I know that I always get cold in my super air conditioned office. So I definitely can see this being like an all year sweater. So excited. Hopefully I will have something to wear very, very soon. But anyway, so as I said before, like my family, they all know what they're getting because I have learned to consult people before I knit for them. And I was actually kind of reading this on Wool and the Gang's blog about, you know, how to knit for a significant other or a family member. And usually, and like I say this from experience, definitely let the person know. Just because as knitters, sometimes we don't typically think of our skill as anything special. I know that I'm, you know, like I just knit, and that's just pretty much all it is to me. I don't think that I'm really doing anything that, you know, that miraculous, or, you know, it's just like a hobby to me. And, you know, if I want to make something for somebody I care about, it's just kind of second nature to do it. But I learned back in 2010 that maybe sometimes you just got to let the person know, because even though you may not think it's a big thing, they may think, oh my gosh, this is handmade, and she probably spent forever on this. So back in November 2010, I was coming back from my first campaign, and I was, you know, my boyfriend at the time, you know, I was just like, oh my gosh, we have survived like this whole 3-month thing of me being away, like we're back together, things feel really good, I'm going to make that boy a scarf. So I went to Michael's back then, because I wasn't really, I didn't really have access to, you know, just like, I don't want to say the word better yarns, because I know that, you know, people like, you know, it's to each their own, and I'm never going to yarn shame anybody. But I guess I'm trying to say that I didn't really have the access to, you know, like look at all different sorts of brands. And, you know, I know that at Michael's it's very Lion brand heavy. So I just saw Lion brand woolies, and I'm like, well, it's an acrylic wool blend, and that will help keep them warm. So I think I'll buy that. So yeah, I think it only really caught I think I finished the scarf in like maybe 2 or 3 days. Again, just like nothing really a big deal for me. I'm just like knitting while watching TV. I was in between jobs at the time, so I had a lot of knitting time on my hands back then. And I remember giving it to him, and he was absolutely floored. Floored enough to break up with me that night. Yes. Oh, it was so crazy. Granted, you know, like we ended up getting back together very shortly afterwards, but he wrote an email to me the next day saying he was so floored by the scarf. And granted, there were like other things happening around then, but yeah, like he was just like so caught up with it that I actually took the time to make this. I didn't go and buy it. This was actually like some sort of effort was into this. So, and it was really funny because when we got back together, I saw the scarf in his closet, and I was like, so are you wearing it? And he's just like, yeah, I wear it on like the coldest days. It's really nice. And I'm just like, ah. So with that, I've learned that if you are going to make something for either your significant other or a family member, talk with them before. Because the thing is, some people have fiber sensitivity. I know that there's a ton of people I know in my life who, you know, feel that wool is itchy and they refuse to wear it. So I'm better off doing like cotton or acrylic blend. Or I know that there's some patterns that I may like, but they may not. So I should probably go on Ravelry with them and ask if they like this pattern, and because there's nothing worse than like, you know, giving someone word vomit. There's nothing worse than giving somebody a gift that they don't want. And so that's why I figure if you're going to spend all this time making something for them, it might as well be something that they're going to be happy with. So just, I would just recommend take the time to figure out like if they are going to end up liking the pattern or not. And color choices as well. I have basically like nagged my family like crazy, being like, what's your favorite color? I need to know. So cause you know, if they're gonna end up wearing it, they want something that'll make them feel good, as not only just like with warmth, but also kind of emotionally. So so basically like my big lesson with that is just like, unless it's like a crazy, like, you know, unless it's a very, very established relationship where it's just like, I'm just going to knit my boy a pair of socks because I'm not going to think anything of it, and he's not going to think anything of it. It's not like I'm asking him to be engaged or anything like that. So I don't know, like, I think it's just like that, like, I say tread on the, like, you know, just tread on some, you know, you're just knowing that you're just treading on some sort of uneven ground, and you know, just to make sure that everybody's on the same boat, just talk about it. So, and actually that ex-boyfriend, I know that he actually watches the podcast, and we're pretty good friends, so hey, if you're watching. So yeah, it was actually really hilarious. Like, looking back, it's probably like one of the most hilarious knitting stories that I have about, I made my boyfriend a scarf, but then he broke up with me, and then we ended up getting back together. So yeah, so I guess there's really not much. I really wanted to go to the Vine Trunk Show last week at Gauge Intention, but because I had like, the one thing I love about this month is that there's so many events, and then the one thing that is kind of overwhelming with this month is that there's so many events. And the week before, a couple days before the trunk show, I was hosting an event with my professional organization, and it went so awesome, and I was just like cloud nine, knowing that this is my first time ever setting up something like really huge like this, and everybody had a good time. But with all that energy, and like, in addition to like my work holiday party, and then I had like another professional group holiday party before that, like that week was just like so crazy that my immune system was just like, hey, Alex, guess what? You're gonna get sick, because this is just way too much. So at my work holiday party last Friday, I ended up feeling a sore throat coming on, and I just thought, oh no, this is not happening. But at the same time, I was very happy that it happened before Christmas, so I'm not sick before the holidays. So I just tried to take it easy as much as I could. I really didn't do much this past week. I ended up going out to the Will Butler concert in Williamsburg on Thursday, and Will Butler is one of the members of Arcade Fire, and I've never been able to see Arcade Fire live, so that was like my little consolation prize for stalling on tickets last year. Like, I don't know why, because like, I have always wanted to see Arcade Fire live, and for some reason, I guess I was still trapped in like grad school, like, wallet mentality, where you think you're always poor, even though you have you know, you have a job now, and you actually do have money to spend. But no, I can't possibly spend $20 on an Arcade Fire ticket. I am like, I just wish I could go back to July 2014, where I was looking at buying the tickets and just being like, Alex, what were you thinking? Like, there's no reason why you had to wait on this. So yeah, so that was really awesome. I was really happy that I was feeling better in time for that, and it's just been, I'm just really looking forward to the holidays and just spending time with my family, and also getting this move underway. So I guess, you know, it's a pretty short episode this week, but I guess it gives me enough time to just like focus on knitting. So thank you so much for sharing some time with me, and I hope to see you all soon. Bye!